Hey, what's going on? My name is Daniel Rowland and I am the guitar tech and recording engineer for Adrian Belew. Now I'm coming to you today from Adrian's newly redesigned studio out here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. And I just want to talk for a minute about the Planet Waves modular snakes and how I've chosen to implement them in the studio. Not just in the control room to go from rack gear to patch bay to interface and for the microphones, but also out here in the studio to get from Adrian's new guitar system to the wall panels to amps and just various things. Alright, so for starters, we're at the back of Adrian's rack. Now I just want to give you a couple of scenarios where the modular snakes have been useful for me. So if you look down here at the bottom of the rack, we have an 8-channel DI. Now I use this to take the stereo outputs or mixes from various portions of Adrian's gear. So let's say loops, or guitar synthesizers, or synths coming from the computer, a double guitar, the main guitar, whatever, it all comes out there. So what I have here is one of the modular snake breakouts, and in this case it is an XLR female breakout. So I can connect all 8 XLR connections to the DI, and I'm ending here at a DB25. So of course then I go grab one of the core cables, and I can choose between 5, 10, or even 25-foot core cables. Now if I have a coupler, I can even double those distances, right? So very convenient here. Patch it in, and then I can terminate this however I want, because we have breakouts for XLR male and female, 1/4 inch balanced, as well as tiny telephone. So let's say I need to patch into a house snake during a gig. I've got male XLR, DB25, so just patch into the core cable, plug right into the house snake. It's very clean, it's neat, it's very easy. I can again go to balanced 1/4 inch if I need to, and if I wanted to go straight into a patch bay in the studio, let's say I just want to go DI right into the bay, I can do that. We have tiny telephone or bantam jacks, and with a DB25 as well, so right into the core cable, right into the patch bay, super quick. Now in a recording scenario, I may or may not want to use a passive DI to record with. Okay, so let's say that I'm recording the direct outputs of each of the pieces of gear in addition to miking the amps. So what I can do, we have this other breakout, and this one will allow me to solder whatever connections I want. So what I have is some of this gear has XLR outputs and some has 1/4 inch balanced outputs. So I can make these cables where I have half of them is XLR and half of them is balanced 1/4 inch. I can connect them to the various pieces of gear. I'm still coming DB25, I can still go to my core cable, and I can still terminate however I want to. And that is really convenient to go patch into wall panels to go to ISO booths in the studio, which is really nice. So I can go core cable, patch into a wall panel, and then come out of that wall panel to our balanced full range guitar cabs that we use with any signal that I want. So very convenient, very flexible, both in the studio and certainly on stage. Alright, so now we're in the control room of the studio. Now, in this particular studio, Adrian didn't want to use this 48-channel console. He didn't want to have walls and walls of gear. He wanted it to be very streamlined, but very powerful and just as flexible, if not more flexible, than what he normally has. I think we've accomplished that with this. Now, if we look over to the audio interfaces, you notice that I'm using Metric Halo ULN8s. Got 2 of them. Well, those are great for a variety of reasons. It's very convenient, though, that they have DB25 connections on the back of them for their analog and digital I/O. So I can just connect a core cable directly into the back of the Metric Halo, which is what I've done. Now over here you notice our patch bays, they're Redco bays that are also DB25 bays. So the connection between the audio interfaces and the bay is just a straight core cable, there is no breakout. Okay. Now below the ULN8s, for some extra preamps, besides the outboard ones we have a Mackie Onyx 800R. Well, that does not have DB25 for its analog inputs. It's got just regular old XLR. It's got 8 of them, right? So in that case, I've got a breakout going into the Mackie, coming out, and I've got a core cable that comes into the bay. So really it's no difference except we're adding a breakout because of the connections on the back of the Mackie. Now if you come over to the patch bay and just looking at a part of the patch bay here, we see the Redco bays. Well, directly beneath the Redco bays we have the Avian headphone system, right? It's how we distributed the headphone box. Well, this actually takes 1/4 inch balanced inputs, and you notice it's right underneath the patch bay. Well, what's going on here is that on the back of the bay is a breakout cable that's connected DB25 into the bay, and it terminates to 1/4 inch, and they're just plugged directly into the Avian headphone system. So there is no core connection in this case. It's just a breakout going straight in here, and you're done. Very easy, and it's not a lot of cabling. It's just very neat on the back of this bay. Now, the rest of the gear in the bay most of it takes XLR, right? So it's out XLR, in XLR. The way that most of it's positioned, I'm not using a core cable for a lot of this. I can just come right to my patch bay with a breakout with a DB25 and then connect into these various pieces of gear. If some of them take balanced 1/4 inch, I can just solder my own or use one of the 1/4 inch breakout cables. So again, crazy flexible. All right, lastly, we have this Eventide H8000 sitting behind me. Now this piece of gear will output and input AES. So depending on the card you have for it, you can use the AES breakout cables for the modular snake, right? They're going to be half XLR female, half XLR male. And in this case, that's actually connected via a core cable to the back of the ULN8s, which have an AES DB25 input. So again, we've got AES distributed. Now if you have the card for it, this actually will output just straight DB25 AES as well, which is also super convenient. You don't even need a breakout. Alright, so I hope that served as just a real quick run through of some of the ways that I'm using the modular snakes in this particular studio. As I've said, I think they're crazy convenient. They're obviously very, very flexible, and they just make life simpler. So I'm glad that I stumbled across them. I couldn't be a bigger fan of them if I tried.